This is TWiT.
So the Open Mainframe Project was created to be a focal point for all of the open source development that's happening on the mainframe. Open source really isn't new to mainframe. Linux has been running on mainframe since 1999. There are several distributions that support running Linux. Actually, a fun fact of 90% of the mainframe customers out there actually run Linux on their mainframes, and these are production heavily used mainframes for various applications. IBM even sells Linux only mainframes. That's how popular it is on here. But the challenge was there was lots of efforts of open source happening, and as you can imagine, there's not an overwhelming ton of talent out there that really just understands the architecture, how these machines work, and all of that, and especially with individual open source projects. So this project was created as let's pull all this whole community together, and let's collaborate on how to make sure that open source support is happening effectively, how to make sure that these projects, when they need the resources to support open source, it can help do that. How can we also help educate the market just to let them know, hey, what is actually modern open source? What is a modern mainframe, and how are people modernly using it? And then also as a way to help support a lot of the academic programs out there that look to get students engaged on mainframe. So it's probably a little bit more than 40,000 foot, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of a broad base of where we're coming from.
Okay, so my first question is, what is mainframe? I mean, the biggest computer I've physically ever used, except for maybe stuff in the cloud, I don't know how big it is because it's in the cloud, right? Maybe it's a big cloud, I have no idea, right? The biggest computer I've ever used is a PDP 1170. So would that still be not mainframe, or is that sort of the underside of what you're talking about?
So you're saying like how physically big the computer is, or just sort of like capabilities?
Capabilities.
So think of a mainframe as a more modern version of that, but with sort of a similar approach. And Len, maybe this is a great question for you to tackle here.
IBM in 1999 decided to make Linux available across all of its server platforms, mainframe and x86 systems, all at the same time. And the two distributions that became available on the mainframe at that time were Red Hat, and as time went on, Canonical's Ubuntu was made available. And then there were many other, shall I say, unofficial distributions that people ported to the mainframe because of their own requirements, such as Alpine and Fedora and Debian and a few others. So Linux has become quite prevalent on the mainframe. People think of the mainframe a lot of times as the one that used to run MVS or VSE or the traditional mainframe operating systems, ZVM, and things like that. But the mainframe runs just about you can think of out there in the way of Linux and associated or non-associated open source software.